All right, so peace and love, everybody. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Aniverse Network Podcast. All right, I'm your host, Dayron Shavers, the founder of Aniverse Now Enterprises. I am a Reiki healer, a nature enthusiast, an online course creator, and just a teacher of overall wellness. All right, so I just want to get into a little bit why I created Aniverse Now Enterprises. My goal and mission is to actually create coexistence between nature, animals, and people, right? And that's through different therapies, education, different meditations, all of the above. It's kind of all in one, right? So um, hop on and get ready because you're going to learn something today. I guarantee you, even if it's one thing, it's going to help you build overall wellness in your life. All right. So, first, I want to start off with a quote. Okay. And just think about this. So, this is a quote by Rumi. It says, "Look past your thoughts so you may drink the pure nectar of this moment." All right. So, again, look past your thoughts so you may drink the nectar of this moment. This is a quote by Rumi, of course. So, what that means, a lot of times in our lives, we're so focused on what's going on here, what's going on there, what's going on over here. We don't take our time to focus on what we're actually doing, right, in the moment, right, that we're actually doing. So, for example, um, you want to be present, right, especially at times where you want to de-stress, get rid of any type of anxieties, cluttered mind, which happens through your typical work day. If you're in school, um, if you have a business, you have those type of dealings going on. Our mind can get pulled different ways, right? And a lot of times we forget to take time out to enjoy our moment, right? Or take time for our self-care. So be present, okay? For example, if you're watching this podcast or if you're listening, you want to be present right during this time. So just you can actually take that into practice and focus your attention on what's being explained here. All right. Take a quick drink here. All right. So I want to start off with a meditation. All right. So this meditation, I just simply call it the 555 meditation. Just a few simple steps here. So we're going to inhale through our nose. We're going to inhale for 5 seconds. All right. Then we're going to hold our breath for 5 seconds. And then we're going to actually exhale for 5 seconds. And what this does actually on the exhale, we're releasing those negative energetic emotions or any type of blockages that we have, right? Any type of stresses that you have going on through the day. You can perform this at any time throughout the day. And I guarantee you, you'll feel better afterwards than you did before. So again, we're just going to inhale for 5 seconds through our nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to hold for 5 seconds. And then we're going to exhale through our mouth over 5 seconds. All right. So we'll do this about 3 times. Okay. And if you're watching this, you can see my fingers. I'll just kind of count that way so I can actually do it with you. If you're actually listening to it, use your fingers and you can count as well to 5 seconds. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start. So ready? Let's begin. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Again, inhale. Hold. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. All right. I don't know about you, but I feel a lot better than I did before I did that. And it helps me to actually get into what we're going to talk about today. So I just want to briefly talk to you all about the importance of actually connecting and harmonizing with nature, right? The natural world around us, right? So again, just a few things. When we talk about nature, we have trees, we have the animals around us, whether that's our pets, whether that's wildlife, your squirrels, your birds, even your insects, your worms, those pesky flies that, make it on people's nerves, your gnats, um, bees, wasps, they all have their role to play in the natural world. Okay. So I'm just going to go through a few things I just want you to think about, right? The impact that this has on our daily life, whether we realize it or not. All right. So, firstly, we talk about trees, right? Almost a lot of places you can go, you're going to find a tree, right? Depending on what area you live in throughout the world. So, if you think about trees, trees actually help to purify the air that we breathe, right? So if you think about it, trees are kind of like the lungs of nature, right? So whereas our lungs function as, we're bringing in fresh air, fresh oxygen, right? And we're releasing the carbon dioxide into air, and that's the waste, right, that we have from our cells, um, through our body to expel that to get out of our body system, right? So if you think about it, trees work the reverse way, right? So they actually take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, right? And that oxygen, the oxygen that's released is actually what we breathe in. All right. So, um, it's always a good idea to have some type of trees around because this helps to purify the air, especially if you live in a type of area with a lot of factories, different things like that. Trees could actually help to purify, right? It's could be a long process depending on how much air pollution or things there is, but this is the function of trees, right? So we have to appreciate what trees do on a daily basis that we may not even know about, right? Until you learn from, say, this podcast. All right. So the next thing, you look at our food, right? What we eat, on a daily basis, right? You think about your vegetables. Where do your vegetables come from? They come from the earth, right? They're grown, hopefully through, um, the processes of, gardening, things of that nature. And that actually um, is consumed by, us. And that in turn turns into energy, right? That's how we move our body, by the energy that we get from plants, right? If same as if you eat meat, animals, right? Animals are, a part of nature, right? So, you know, um, it's always important to realize that we're connected with nature in our natural world, right? And this in turn turns into the energy how we go about our day, right? So a lot of times if you feel down, you feel sluggish, throughout the day, it could be what did you eat, right? Did you eat, some vegetables where you're able to get good nutrients, good energy from, or did you eat, your snacks, your cookies, your chips, things like that, which is fine, but just realize that you, you get your energy through what you eat, right? So if you eat vegetables, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have some good energy. If you eat a lot of cookies and cakes and, everything else, your energy might take a dip, just depending on who you are, right? And again, nothing's wrong with this. Everybody has their own opinions. You're free to eat what you want, but, just thought you should know. All right. So another thing, water, right? Water is extremely important. All right. About 2/3 of our body is actually water, right? Water is a major function, right? It's how um, your body, you can only go about 3 days, without water. And that really just depends on who you are, if your body is able to handle that. So, you know, it's always good to have some type of water into your, daily routine or, even every other couple of days, or so, because that's how our body functions, right? It actually helps to dispel toxins as well. That's how we remove it. It goes through our bladder. Our urinary system is, something else to look into, right? And we'll look at that in another video. But this is how we dispel the toxins out of our body, right? And if you don't have water going through your system, right, then it's hard for your body to actually filter through and get those toxins out of your body, actually. All right. So, and if you think about it, you have your rivers, your lakes, your ponds, oceans. These are all bodies of water, right? So, and you just want to recognize that, we need water. So it's important for us to take care of our water, right? You don't want to keep, throwing trash and things in, whether it's the river, whether it's a lake, because whether we drink it, through a filtration system, or even the animals around us, right? They have to drink water as well. So if you're polluting, the water and things around you, then they have to consume that water, right? Because they can't can't open a bottle of water and drink it like that. So if they're actually consuming that water, it's making them sick, right? And with that, they're going into the natural world, right? And it's like a sickness, right? So it just gets passed on, right? So if, an animal drinks, a type of water that's, polluted, right? And another animal eats that animal. Now that animal has all those pollutions and toxins in its body, and it's a cycle, right? So it just destroys the environment. Okay, so that's just something to think about. And again, if it destroys our environment, that has a direct effect on us, right? Because we're interacting with our environment, whether you realize it or not. All right. Next thing, you look at your homes, your shelters these are all usually made from materials that come from the earth, right? Whether it's, type of brick, even metal, or these type of materials, a lot of them are naturally occurring resources from the earth, right? So, even wood, right? Wood comes from trees, right? So that's another source that, some people choose to build their homes with, right? So that's another thing. The home or wherever you may be watching this is built from the resources of nature. All right. Next thing, you look at cars, right? And, cars are pretty much a lot of metals, even plastics, that come together and, there's, some science put together to make it actually run, right? So, but for the most part, the configurations to actually keep it together, are usually your metals and things, right? And again, metal is a way it's put together of the natural world, right? So just keep in mind whether, if you're riding in a car, if you're riding on a train, you're riding on a plane, a boat, the materials that you're actually riding with that's helping you get to your destination is nature, right? So, you might want to thank nature for giving you to where you need to be, right? Because if not, you'll be walking, which is fine as well. It's good exercise. All right. So then, clothes, right? You think of the clothes that we wear. A lot of materials come from, silk, cotton, polyester, even the synthetic materials, right, are usually derived from the natural material just with some additives, right? They come from the earth, right? So, and even depending on, where you are, your belief system, a lot of people wear different, other different materials. Some people, depending on your culture or the times that, you lived in, they use a lot of animal furs and things like that. Now, people have their own opinions. I'm not here to discuss that. This is just what has happened, right? If you look in the history, all right? So, you know, I just wanted to give you like a brief overview of how important nature is, right, in our daily lives, whether we realize it or not. All right. So again, just to kind of to go back on what we talked about, we talk about trees, right? The importance that they have on our oxygen, right? Because they're like the opposite of our lungs. We inhale oxygen, we exhale carbon dioxide, right? The trees inhale carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen, right? Then we talked about our food, right? The food that we eat usually comes from the earth. It's grown like in the garden, on the farm, or your animals, right? Come from nature as well. And this all depends on, it all goes into the energy that we have, throughout the day and how our bodies are, depending on what we eat. Okay. Then we talked about water, the importance of water, how, you want to have, some type of water intake, preferably on a daily basis, but, depending on your conditions or however you are, you just want to have some type of consistency with it. All right. Especially if you drink a lot of like sodas or things like that, just keep in mind, you also want to add some type of water into your system, um, around the time as well. Then we talked about our homes, of our shelters that we live in, are built from natural materials, right? That um, keeps us safe from, the elements or, depending on where you live in the world, maybe wildlife or things like that. These are built from nature, right? Wood, different metals, your bricks and things like that. Okay. And then we talked about, um, our cars, planes, boats, trains. These are all things that are made from natural materials, right? Different metals, maybe some iron, things like that. These are all brought together, to create the type of transportation that we're actually using it for, right? So keep that in regards as well. When you're traveling, you want to thank the natural world for helping you get to where you need to go. All right. So then again, we talked about clothes, right? The clothes that we wear comes from nature around us, different materials. So it actually, keeps us warm, keeps us cool, somewhere in between, again, depending on where you are in the world, some type of clothing can come handy. All right. So pretty much in conclusion, if there's anything that I really want you to take away from this, right, is to be grateful for nature and what it provides us. Okay, again, I said there's one thing to learn from this episode here is to be grateful for nature, right? And for what it provides us, whether we realize it or not. Okay. So if you want to learn more kind of about Aniverse Now Enterprises, about myself, the services that I offer, again, I offer Reiki services for people as well as animals. This is done, you know, um, remotely, right, or online, or depending on where you are in the world, it's actually in person as well, where you can actually do a Reiki session with you as well as your pet, right? Dogs, cats, horses, your exotics, that's fine. I would love to conversate with you on how I can better serve you in those regards, right? To build a connection and build that coexistence between you all, right? So it's important as far as your living conditions and how you want to connect with, your friend, right? Um, and then on my website, www.dateronshavers.com, which you'll be able to find a link in the description as well. And if you actually go to that page, at the bottom, you'll find my handles to my social media. Currently, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. YouTube is Aniverse Now Enterprises. It's my YouTube channel. LinkedIn, Dayron Shavers, DA_RON Shavers, SHAVERS, which you can see my name in the left corner there. More platforms are coming soon. That's where we are, currently. All right. So I want to thank you all for your time. Thanks for listening to the first episode of a very exciting podcast. I'm excited to be able to do this and be able to share with everyone different ways on how to improve their overall well-being in their daily lives, right? So with that said, peace. I'm grateful. And until next time, peace and love to the world from the natural world. All right. Peace.